to breaking it all down. I'm Count Zero. It's been a while since I reviewed a science fiction novel. So, I might as well get around to covering one of the biggest novels in the genre. Frank Herbert's opus, Dune. As known as on how I'm covering this book in the review, I'm handling Dune on its own terms, not getting into material covered in Dune Messiah, Children of Dune, or any of the other sequels or prequels. With that out of the way, let's get started. Dune is probably one of the best-known science fiction novels of all time. So I'm going to focus on the broad strokes of the narrative, more or less, before getting into an element that I think doesn't get as much discussion. Dune follows Paul Atreides, the son of Duke Leto Atreides, and his concubine, not wife, the Lady Jessica. Paul's mother was instructed by the Bene Gesserit, the matriarchal holy order that is the religious center of society in the future, in order to bear a daughter to Leto, in the hopes of marrying her off to the heir of House Harkonnen, in the hopes of avoiding the destruction of both houses and producing a messiah, the Kwisatz Haderach, who have a degree of psychic perception that the Bene Gesserit themselves lack. House Atreides has been granted control of the planet Arrakis, also known as Dune, the only source of melange, also known as spice, which heightens precognitive abilities. In particular, it allows the navigators of the Spacing Guild to fold space and take ships between the stars, allowing interstellar travel, and it's also used for the abilities of mentats, human computers. Both of these are required for a functioning society, as an event in the past called the Butlerian Jihad made computers a taboo. Further, the withdrawal symptoms for spice are universally fatal, and even after one dose, you have to keep taking it. If galactic society is to function, the spice must flow. If spice shipments stop, the universe will collapse into a new dark age, as untold quadrillions will likely die, and interstellar travel will stop for a very long time. However, House Atreides has a long-standing vendetta with another noble house, House Harkonnen. House Harkonnen forms an alliance with the Emperor Shaddam IV, to destroy House Atreides in its entirety. However, Paul, his mother Jessica, and some of their other vassals, we learn later, survive, and join up with the Fremen, the indigenous people, sort of Arrakis. The Fremen are a spiritual people, somewhat narratively inspired by Islam, and they train Paul how to survive in the desert, and Paul in turn trains them in the forms of fighting that he's learned from Jessica. And after the Fremen's previous Reverend Mother dies of old age, Jessica takes over as their Reverend Mother, and they start a war against House Harkonnen. In the process of this war, Paul learns that he is the Kwisatz Haderach, and after drinking the Water of Life, the same substance which allows Jessica to assume all the memories of the previous Reverend Mother for the Fremen, Paul also learns he has a level of precognition which makes him dangerous to pretty much everyone. The Fremen take on the Emperor and Baron Harkonnen, resulting in the deaths of the Baron and his heir, Fade Rautha, and Paul basically becoming Emperor of the Galaxy. Again, that's the super broad strokes version. If I was going to get into super nitty-gritty detail over the story, I could end up with a video series that makes SF Debris' review of the Foundation trilogy look minuscule, just with one book. There's a massive amounts of depth to this book, and every time I read it, I discover something new about the story. Heck, the Thug Notes video on Dune covers an entirely different set of themes than what I'm covering today, focusing more on the trap of Paul's prescience, which is also incredibly good. I'll put a link in the show notes. You should definitely check that out. But in this video, I'm focusing on one of the bits which I particularly like and which I came across fairly recently, which is how each faction's manipulations are represented.